Welcome back to Real Life Answers. My name is Ben, and this is Jesus on Culture. Welcome to Jesus on Culture, where we take one of today's top cultural issues and discuss it in a series. This series involves two pastors, Dan Bannister, pastor of Grace Alive Church in Ontario, California, and Bob Bannister, pastor of First Baptist Church Springfield, Louisiana. We'll be discussing issues such as, should Christians be involved in social justice? Is racism a sin? What is white privilege? Does it actually exist? God bless you, have a great day, and here is Jesus on Culture.
All the time on social media. Some will say if the black community can have their Black History Month, then I should be able to have my Confederate flag. They argue that one heritage should be equal to another. Is this a fair comparison? If yes or no, please explain why.
Oh, man. Number one, we're comparing apples to oranges here. There is no sense in which Black History Month is an oppression to anyone. In fact, it's a celebration of Black culture. And it's a recognition. The reason that we have a Black History Month is because overwhelmingly the history courses and the history that is the history of the United States is told from the voice of white people. And told from a very Eurocentric standpoint. So the reason that we have a Black History Month is to be sure that is to try to offset some of that white privilege we were talking about before. It's the majority culture's privilege that most of the history that is in the history books is about people who are of European descent. And so the reason that we have Black History Month is because of white privilege. I've heard people make the same statement about Black entertainment television or other types of Black entertainment that are popular within culture, and they'll say, "Oh, well, why we got to have a culturally segregated channel or a culturally segregated magazine?" Well, because for years, for decades, throughout the history of this country,
everything was white.
Out of mainstream television out of magazines and out of everything else because of the connection. And so the Black community said, we want to celebrate our culture. We want to celebrate the things that are worth celebrating in Blackness. And we can't do that in the main television channels and the main entertainment venues and the main stream of things. And so we've had to come up with these alternate ways of doing this. If the Black community had been given proper representation throughout history in the culture, they wouldn't have had to have created these alternatives for their own children and families. And so, no, we can't compare Black History Month to the Confederate flag. The Confederate flag, again, and I won't dwell on this because I've already gone over it ad nauseum, is the reality that the Confederate flag is a symbol that it's a Confederate battle flag. It's a symbol of war that dates back to the Civil War, and that it was a war that was fought to uphold slavery as an institution. And so looking at Black History Month as a white man, I can't look at that and say, oh, well, this is about some type of affront.
Inequality.
It's not some type of oppression to me.
Make sense. Yeah.
But the Confederate flag is absolutely a symbol of oppression. And if you don't believe that, ask any person of color what the Confederate flag means.
Right.
The Black community is overwhelmingly unanimous. And here's the thing: when we start to discount the voice of all the, and let me speak to the question, because sometimes people will hold up one or two people, Black conservative voices, and say, oh, well, these are Black voices that say this. Well, here's the thing: if you're willing to listen to a Black conservative pundit speak in a video, but you're not willing to read a book by a Black person with a PhD who has actually studied this issue, what you've said is that it's not that you care about Black voices, but that you're only willing to listen to voices that confirm your own bias.
You're making the mistake that I made, which is to find the evidence to back up what you want to believe instead of trying to find the truth.
Yes.
So the truth sets you free. believing what you want to believe is another form of lies, and it does not set you free. It actually ensnares you. It did me, and it destroyed me. I'm glad that God finally brought it to my attention. I'm sure I've got a lot more to repent of in the years to come. But I think it's beautiful that finally, if we listen to the Lord, he can start helping us to get the right picture instead of just grabbing what we want and further polarizing our country and the world. We can bring into that unity that Paul talks about in the church, where we have all races, all nations represented, showing the picture that's in Revelation. And when that happens, that's a community people. There was something I almost didn't bring up earlier. Hopefully I won't keep us from covering everything, but we brought this up earlier, and I think it bears. I was talking to Lane Corley earlier, who is our church planning strategist, and he was talking about how certain practices in the church don't work anymore. And you mentioned something, Dan, that really hit me, that our polarization in churches, even though we've tried to homogenize, I think it's the word you used, right? Homogeneous, give me the word again.
The homogeneous unit principle.
Yeah, homogeneous, basically one segregated type of person that we're trying to reach in a church. While that's definitely reached more people, I think maybe that's why America may not be as in tune with the church anymore. Maybe they're sick of the polarization. Maybe they're sick of the segregation. And now the church, they don't do it on purpose, but the church has become so segregated, even to subcultures and sub-subcultures, that we have created a difficult spot for us to reach those who are unchurched, because they don't want a segregated place. They want to see all races together. That's what they really want to see. And maybe if more churches reflected that, we'd start reaching more people, because that's what they want. That's what everybody actually wants, is love, unity. These are things written on the heart from God. And I'm going to stop preaching and get to the next section. I'm sorry.
So what did you think? Is there anything you'd like to add to what was said today? If so, please let us know in the comments below. Also, if you like what you saw today, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss an episode. Finally, please join us every Monday at 4 p.m. for new issues regarding our culture.